a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Afterward, I tried many times to explain what it felt like. I couldn't. Every muscle in my body turned to fire. My bones felt like they were melting. I wanted to scream, but I didn't have the strength to open my mouth. I began to sink, lower and lower to the ground, the sky's weight crushing me. "Fight back," Grover's voice said in my head. "Don't give up." I concentrated on breathing. If I could just keep the sky aloft for a few more seconds. I thought about Bianca, who had given her life so we could get here. If she could do that, I could hold the sky. Welcome to Of the Eldest Gods, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as our godly parent.
I'm Raye from Cabin 12.
And I'm Charlie from Cabin 13. And boy, do we gain a few million extra pounds? Did we?
So, I looked it up. Earth's atmosphere is 5.5 quadrillion tons, so I think that this is probably also inaccurate.
Wow. Ray, I'm sorry, but I don't think anyone really cares about that part. like it's just a number. Like
I just wanted to say.
I know you gotta be a know-it-all, and we're both know-it-alls here on this podcast. We like being right, but also, you know, Percy's just like saying nonsense at the beginning of chapter titles. He's not trying to be accurate.
He sure is. Percy.
Like, half of these chapter titles have nothing to do with fucking anything. Why is this what he chose to say? I put on a few million extra pounds.
Because it's funny.
But
it's a joke. Ha ha, laugh.
But he doesn't put on weight. He's lifting it. He should have been like, I go to the gym
himself.
No, I'm going to the gym. Like I don't know.
You'd have to.
I gain muscle.
You'd have to work to make that one work, I think.
I gain muscle.
He does not gain any muscle, though. I think he loses his life force a little bit.
Nah, not at all. It's, you know, do your bones and muscles just, like, go on fire and, like, start melting when you lift up things at the gym? I think that's just a normal thing.
Well, when they're 5.5 quadrillion tons, I think normally it just, like, it squishes you.
You know, at least we had a Percy by the end of the chapter. At least he didn't, like, just splat like a cartoon character.
True.
That's the alternate ending of Percy Jackson, is he just splats like a cartoon character.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye. No more.
Yeah, Artemis is like, don't do it, and he's like, I can do it, and then he can't.
And then it's like,
bye.
And that was the end of Percy Jackson. Thank you and good night. No more series anymore.
The story's about Talia now.
I mean, yeah, you know? Yeah.
Anyways, let me do a little summary of I put on a few million extra pounds. Yeah, see, the thing is that seems like it should be an exaggeration because he's a kid and that's what they do.
Yeah.
But it's not an exaggeration, it is a gross understatement. Anyways, so, first, people have to explain to Percy how holding the sky works. Then, Luke tries to tempt Talia to the dark side again, but no dice. We pay off on some of the war themes of this book by seeing just how big the enemy army is, so that's exciting. Talia goes toe-to-toe with Luke, and Percy tries to take on a Titan by himself because he's dumb. And then Anaclusmos starts misbehaving, so that doesn't really work out for him. Zoe saves him, but then she unfortunately gets domestic violenced. And so Percy... I don't know that you liked that one, huh?
That was too real. That was a bit too real.
It's literally like a smack. Like, how else am I supposed to read that?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway. Percy tells Artemis that he can hold the sky for her real quick so that she can save their asses. And thus we are saved from the rest of the fight choreography, kind of like when Bilbo passes out in the Battle of Five Armies.
Yes! Thank you! Oh my god! What a good reference.
Thank you. They pull some jukes on Atlas and drop the sky on him again. And then we have a quick moral discussion about whether we should kill Luke or not. But then they accidentally drop him off a cliff like a Disney villain. So Luke is dead, Zoe is dying, an army is closing in, and then here comes Dr. Chase with the Sopwith Camel. Imagine that I said that like a wrestling announcer. And then they escape on Artemis's Santa sleigh. Ta-da.
Artemis Claus. It's canon.
The Artemis Claus. If you kill Artemis, you have to become the next Artemis.
I love it. Actually, is that just, that's canon? That's how it works.
It should be for all of the gods, TBH. You're
my
like,
god.
if you want to be a god, all the slots are filled, but there's a loophole.
Either I or someone else has to draw like this fan art of like you know, like the Santa Claus, like the just
the contract.
I was just gonna say like the movie poster, but it's like Artemis instead, and it's like somebody else. Who would become Artemis? Which one of these characters is it?
If anyone, it seems like Zoe's earned it, but she's not looking so hot right now.
Yeah. It's plot twist. It's Annabeth. She's got the true heart of a hunter, as we learned, right?
Yeah, that was nice of her to say. I appreciated Artemis this chapter.
The fact that she's like, Percy, you're not gonna last long. Like you're gonna die in like 2 seconds. She had no faith in him. It's so funny, actually.
I mean, she was trying to help him. She's nice.
It was just so funny.
She was worried about him.
No, she wasn't. She was keeping it real. She's like, you will not last long. You are not as strong.
Well,
like, she was roasting him.
I think she was telling it like it is. I think that
it's both.
Probably Annabeth. Eileen, I would believe that Annabeth has more like fortitude than Percy, and in like certain ways, you know.
Yeah.
In holding the skyways.
Possibly.
Not that Percy doesn't have fortitude. He definitely does. But just saying. So,
well, let us move on to our segment. In case you missed it, hey, you're doing the thing again.
Oh, you know I gots to.
Let's see. Oh god, do we decide how we're pronouncing this mountain's name? Mount Othris?
Othris, that seems good to me, right?
Yeah. There is not a whole lot on this mountain. But, of course, it is in fact based on a real mountain, at least. So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Where is it located?
It says the northeastern part of Phthiotis.
You know, that's why I wasn't saying it.
Phthiotis.
Of whatever you're having problem with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magnesia. Also magnesia. It's
yes. It's central Greece, guys. Don't worry about it.
It's in Greece. That's the important part. It's a real mountain. And there's the tiniest bit of mythology here. So it in fact was the base of Kronos and the Titans in the Titanomachy.
Oh, that is funny.
That is in fact true. Rick didn't make that up. And it's also the birthplace.
At least he got something right.
The birthplace of Zeus and his brothers and sisters. Like,
right, because the
Kronos
Titans lived there, and
yeah,
that's their parents.
Yeah, Kronos and Raye's kids were literally born on that mountain. Yeah.
Going back to the old hometown.
Oh yeah. So okay, literally in the chapter they were like, "This is the birthplace of the Titans." Incorrect, Rick Riordan. It was actually the birthplace of the fucking gods. So, liar. Anyway, yeah. It's just, it was just their base. And Zeus assaulted it, and then I guess he took over Olympus. That's it. That's the whole thing that's here. Nothing else. So.
I don't know if I'm right about this, but it feels like the Titans get less lore than the gods do. You know, Because they're more like the past, while the gods are like the present, sort of.
That's kind of how it works when you have, I mean, a lot of mythologies have, like, this kind of trope with, like, an elder race of, like, deities and a younger race of deities, and, like, the younger overthrows the elders. The elders don't have a lot of lore behind them. They're more primordial and such, and they're just, like, they existed, but, like, the new ones, they really set the groundwork for everything that actually happens in the world. So they interact with everything more.
It's that paradox of, like, existence where you're like, okay, so here's where existence started, but then you're like, well, what came before that? And then you have to come up with something for that, and then it becomes this whole thing. You know, you're like, well, all of existence started with the Big Bang, and it's like, what was going on before that, though? When does time start? Like, what? Yeah, I try not to think about it too much.
I mean, that's very similar to how it is, like, in Greco-Roman mythology. It kind of either starts with Kronos, the god of time, not to be confused with Cronus, the Titan. They are technically separate beings.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I'm confused.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it either begins with him or Chaos, the, like, genderless void being.
My beautiful, wonderful grandparent from Hades.
Yeah, love fucking Chaos in Hades. Them. Just them.
Yeah,
but
for real.
also, like, looking at, like, them as they go farther down the body is hard. It just
You don't like looking at the horrible screaming faces? I don't know that they're screaming. They are a little upsetting, though.
They are slightly upsetting. I try to focus on, like, the main face at the top. You know, they're named Chaos for a reason. But yeah. Not to get into, like, how the universe started in Greco-Roman mythology, but, like, yeah, it kind of was like a Big Bang situation where it's like,
interesting.
This deity either existed before or just, like, created themselves out of nothingness and then created everyone else. That's kind of how it is. That's how it is in a few mythologies, honestly.
Yeah, because you've got to start somewhere, and so you're like, okay, so there was one guy, and don't worry about where he came from, because I don't have an answer, so don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Because you gotta stop going back sometime.
Okay. Before I talk about, like, Atlas, the dude, I also wanted to bring up, like, the fact that Atlas is, like, an architectural, like, thing. Like, okay, this says architectural sculpture. Like, it is a support column, like, type of thing that is just a man that, like, holds up a building, basically, in many different forms. I just, like, I stumbled upon this one time when I was looking up Atlas, and I'm like, what the heck? That's so cool that, like, they named it after him, I guess? Like, that type of thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just very
That's
cool.
really interesting.
Anyway.
I like it when they, like, spoof on that in, like, media and stuff. Like I'm thinking of, like, Despicable Me, when he goes to the bank, and there's, like, the figure holding up the pillar, but as it goes further on, like, the figure keeps getting more and more crushed until they're, like, entirely squished between the pillars.
Oh boy. I need to rewatch Despicable Me. I think that's
a good movie.
That should be another thing that I do. I need to rewatch the movie series, honestly. Okay, Atlas. So, in mythology, he's a Titan, if you didn't know that part. His parents are, I love trying to pronounce these Greek names. Iapetus. Cool. I had to go to his page, because I know this character, and I can never say his name, because it's too many vowels at once. Iapetus. And his mother is, there's two options, but there's only two, at least. It's not like 50 different options. His mother is either Asia, who was the name of a goddess, not just the name of a continent, or Clymene.
Now I have to wonder, like, how those are related and whatnot.
You know,
the continent and the...
etymology-wise, they probably are, maybe? I don't know. Hard to say.
That seems like it would be too hard to figure out in the scope of this podcast.
I'm not doing that today. One of you listeners can do that on your own time. But
it sounds really interesting.
she's an Oceanid. And the other one, is she also an Oceanid? Yes. So basically just ocean, and his dad is the Titan of Mortality. And it's kind of unclear what he would be the Titan of. It's
interesting.
Okay, so it says he's skilled in these things, but that doesn't say he's the Titan of them. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So he's skilled in philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy. He's credited with inventing the first celestial sphere. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's just, like, the way this is worded, but that to me doesn't say that, like, he is the Titan of it, but I don't know. Yeah, and he is in fact, like, located in the extreme west, which makes sense because the Hesperides, the nymphs of the west.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Makes sense. He does in fact exist where they are. There's mountains named after him. Of course there are. The Atlas Mountains in North Africa. It makes sense. Yeah, and his consorts are Pleione, the mother of the Hesperides from Rick's books, or the other possible mother of the Hesperides, Hesperus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course his children are basically all of the daughters of Pleione that we've mentioned so far. Hesperides, the Hyades, Hyas, the Pleiades, and Calypso. Oh, and also, Dione? I want to say it's Dione. She's another goddess who exists. Yeah, so he's also the brother of Prometheus and Epimetheus.
I know one of those.
I mean, if you know one of them, you kind of should know the other. I know Epimetheus is not as well known. It's all related to, like, the Pandora myth and, like, the beginning of man.
Oh.
We will get there someday. It might be important. Also, Prometheus, my favorite. He's one of my favorite guys. Maybe not in Rick's books, but, like, he is my favorite mythological titan.
Oh.
I love him. I love me a trickster guy.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's Prometheus, you know?
I love me a trickster boy who, like, steals shit.
But for other people? Like, be still
a
my beating
trickster
heart.
with a heart of gold? I think you've just described my type.
Yeah, exactly. Who wouldn't like that?
Yeah, anyway. Yes, an atlas is also described as a collection of maps. Thank you, but we're not talking about that right now.
Oh, etymology.
Yeah. Oh, it also mentions that the Atlantic Ocean is the Sea of Atlas. Did y'all get that?
I actually didn't think of that, so...
Did you understand that, like, that means that Atlantis is, like his island?
Oh, that's
kind of
interesting.
Atlas's island is what it means.
Maybe that's because he's a philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy guy. Honestly, he should have been a nerd. He's like, they should not draw him buff, actually. I think he should be... He should be like the nerdy general who sits in with his like little maps, because Atlas is. So he's got all his little maps and his like little fucking compass, the little thing that you like move around, and he's like, if the troops are over here.
I mean, so technically in the mythology there isn't anything saying that he was their general. I'm assuming that Rick gets that from the whole like him and maps, you know, generals and maps. like that's probably the thought process there. But like, you know, let's just redo him and imagine him as like this tiny struggling nerd who just like likes philosophy and mathematics. I almost said mathematics and astronomy. And like he's just struggling to hold up the sky. He's like, why am I here? I'm sorry. And, like, the Olympians are just, like, the bullies who shove people in lockers. Is this not canon?
Honestly, that fits.
That's so canon to me. Zeus is a fuckboy, so...
Yeah.
Let's see. Etymology. Uncertain. So helpful when you say stuff like that, but at least it keeps going on. Possibly means to endure, which, you know, would make sense.
Indeed.
Also to uphold or support. I want to know if, like, this is real, or if that's just, like, they came up with that later.
Right, which seems entirely possible.
It says it's part of a Proto-Indo-European root word, like there are citations here saying, oh yeah, this is totally like a legit thing, but I'm like, it seems too good to be true here. It seems like you came up with that after, possibly.
I listen to a Bible history podcast sometimes. Shout out to the Apocrypals. Anyways, they do saints sometimes, and The Golden Legend is a book about the lives and histories of saints, and the guy who wrote it would make etymologies for all the names that are 100% fake, just made up shit to like fit with like their characters and stuff. Like he'll use like words that sort of sound right, but it's 100% not where the name is from at all.
Oh my god.
It's really funny. Because it's not supposed to be an accurate etymology, it's more about like the vibes.
Wild.
Anyway, so somebody could have done that at some point, and then the whole name gets all fucked up forever because people can't record their history well.
Yeah, exactly.
No standards.
Oh. That is not a podcast that I would have thought you would listen to. Like, Bible history? Interesting.
I don't know, I'm not religious, but I think certain things are interesting. I like
get that.
podcasts that are funny and also informative.
Like we try to be here!
Because then I don't feel like I'm, like, wasting time.
We try to be funny and informative, if possible. Mostly funny.
Indeed. Yeah, sometimes I feel bad listening to podcasts that are, like, purely just entertainment, and I'm like, I have to put some information in my brain right the fuck now, or else I'm gonna freak out.
I feel like I listen to enough people who are, like, funny, while also, like, you know, being informative while they're being funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that made any sense as a sentence, but I'm just gonna continue on now.
Please do.
So yeah, you know everybody confuses the whole, like, he's holding up the earth. He's actually holding up the sky. I'm glad Rick explains this. Thank you, Rick, for getting the mythology thing correct for once. For once in your fucking life, you did it.
I see that there's some salt here. I didn't really realize that was a misconception. Maybe because I read this book as a younger person.
Well, oftentimes in art, it's hard to depict that in art. So they put him as holding a sphere, which it's supposed to be like the celestial spheres, like the spheres of, like, you know, the heavens.
Because he made the celestial spheres. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to be holding just, like, the heavens on his back, but depicting that in art, they just, like, it's hard to depict that.
And so then people think that it's like a globe, and then it's a whole thing.
But it's not a globe. And then, like, more art comes out, and then eventually it just becomes a fucking globe. And it's like, no, he's not holding the earth. What they really need to start doing is drawing him holding, like, clouds or something on his back.
But, like, we were literally talking about this last episode, but it's very abstract.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I feel like that's how a lot of artists, when they try to depict, like, the scene in this chapter, when Percy's holding the sky, because that, you know what? We could finally fucking talk about this. That is, like, such a popular fan art that people draw. It's Percy holding the fucking sky. And they kind of do draw him, like, as holding, like, some clouds and, like, some stars and some shit, like, behind him. Because it's hard to fucking draw, but you know, they don't usually draw him with celestial spheres because people in the modern day don't think about that.
Yeah, I feel like we went into, like, celestial sphere, kind of, like, I cannot think of the word for it, but, like, visualizations once, and we were, like, trying so hard to, like, even get it and what they were talking about. So, yeah, I don't think that that's a very modern, idea that anyone would understand.
I mean, that's also making me think of, like, the religious, like, the different spheres of, like, the planets and, like, the different, like, choirs of angels that would rule the different spheres. That's what that's making me think of when I think of celestial spheres right now, and I don't want to get into that.
Religions really do love spheres. They're like circles? Fuck yeah.
You know what? We invented the wheel, and then that was it. Just
we were like,
circles.
Perfect. Got it.
Circles forever. That's it. Nothing else matters. So, I think I mentioned this, off mic to you, or, like, edited out at one point, but Atlas had an encounter with Perseus, where Perseus turned him to stone.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it does say it's the same Atlas, which is weird, but this Atlas, it doesn't make sense. He is a shepherd, or he's a king. Weird. Okay, he has his own kingdom. Perseus asks for shelter. Atlas is fearful of a prophecy of a son of Zeus stealing his apples and refuses. And so he refuses. Perseus turns him to stone.
Fascinating.
Okay,
I love that.
okay.
It's like continuity.
Yeah, and so that's why it's combined with the Heracles myth, where like Heracles steals the golden apples. But also, why is he a shepherd? I'm so confused about why he's a shepherd or a king. He's neither of those things, actually. He's just a dude. He's just a fucking dude. Also,
well, he's a titan, but
what hospitality can he offer? He's holding up the sky. He can't do shit right now.
Huh.
I have so many questions for what the heck is happening.
I feel like that's gotta be like taking a myth from another culture and trying to translate it to something that makes sense in yours.
Maybe?
Because that has the vibes of something that I've heard before. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like, there's two different versions of it. Polydius? Yeah, that guy. Polyidus, sure. First wrote, like, the version of, like, Perseus turning to stone. And then Ovid, who loves to retcon so much of mythology, still mad at Ovid for Medusa, was like, I'm gonna add that and then make it related to Heracles, so it's like a whole prophecy thing happening here. Because, I mean...
But I'm gonna keep the stone thing, because...
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
It doesn't, though. It really doesn't. Oh no, in that version, he's turned into a mountain range. What the fuck?
Which, we talked about the mountain range earlier, because there's the Atlas Mountains, so I'm assuming that that's what he's talking about.
Still doesn't make sense. But I mentioned this in an earlier chapter when we first see the general. Raye and I were chatting about it, and I was like, hey, he's described as being as solid as stone. I wonder if Rick was, like, talking about this specific thing? Maybe? Possibly? Sometimes Rick actually does research. Not to roast him or anything.
I feel like it's like 50-50, whether that was like an intentional like reference or whether that just seemed like the kind of way you would describe somebody who was under a big heavy thing for many, many years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. And then we've already kind of described the whole encounter with Heracles, but yes, of course, everything in this book is Heracles. It is. And he tricked Atlas, and he's like, hey, Atlas, can you just, like, take back the sky, like, real quick? I just need to, like, fix my cloak, like, just adjust this lion skin, and then, I'll, like, tap right back in and take the sky. And so Atlas takes the sky, and Heracles just dips. He just runs for the hills with the apples.
Yeah.
You know?
Pretty rude, but, like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh, okay, I forgot about that version. There's some versions where Heracles also builds, the Pillars of Heracles? The Pillars of Hercules. Sorry. For some reason that's
Heracles builds
Roman?
the Pillars of Hercules, huh?
I hate everything.
That's what it says here.
That's what it says. So those technically should be holding the sky from the earth. So...
Interesting.
If we go with that version, I really don't want to talk about the Atlantis thing right now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We've covered probably everything we need to. Like...
There is a lot to unpack with Atlantis, and perhaps we will talk about that in a bonus episode. Maybe, perhaps, could happen.
Perhaps.
You know, you'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, I think that's all I have on Atlas. More of these images. Yeah, if you look at the images on the bottom, you can see some of them, it looks like the Earth, some of them, it looks like spheres. Okay, the one in Rockefeller Center is the one that it's actually fucking, like, the spheres, the celestial spheres. And, like, everything else, it looks more like the Earth.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these are globes. But, like, the ones, like, earlier in the article that are, like, classic stuff, like, you can tell that it's, like, well, that one's from 1925. But it's, even though it's, like, a sphere rather than, like, the little tube, like, celestial spheres things, it's still got, like, constellations on it and stuff. You know what I mean? It's clearly not the Earth.
Yeah, but nobody looks that close into it. Nobody does the research. So...
Which is where the confusion comes from.
Yeah. Alrighty. So Atlas and Zoe look similar.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting because he also just called Zoe and her sisters real hot last chapter.
Are you saying Atlas isn't hot?
No, I'm saying that he is, because they have the same, like, look. He has to be really hot. Percy, again, being a shameless bisexual and saying, Atlas looked like Zoe, therefore hot. Anyway, people could take the sky for Artemis. Zoe's not allowed. Artemis forbids her.
I forbid you.
I want to know if that's like do the hunters have to specifically obey her orders? Like, is that like a thing when you're a hunter, or is it just like
It definitely
their
could
buddies?
be.
I'm just wondering, is it a magic thing, or is it like
We
we're
really-
buddies? So don't
Once
do it.
again, we do not get near enough information on the hunters and how they work and all their deals.
We don't.
I do want to know, like, what the entirety of, like, the clauses in this,
The Artemis. Wait, no, that's actually what the Artemis clause is. Actually, it's not the like when you kill Artemis, you become Artemis. It's just like the clauses of being a hunter, like the contract involved. That's that we need to rename this book the Artemis Clause, because that's what it's all about. It's all about like Bianca becoming a hunter and not really knowing the rules exactly, and like Zoe and stuff. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of Hunters of Artemis stuff in this book. So
sorry, I went back in the book to like see what Bianca said when she agreed to join the hunters.
Yeah.
She pledged herself to the goddess Artemis, and she turned her back on the company of men, accepted eternal maidenhood, and joined the hunt. And that's literally the entire pledge. So
yeah, but like you don't know the mini clauses that are like in between the lines there. Like,
well, yeah. So it's still like entirely possible, because pledging yourself to the goddess Artemis could mean anything.
It could mean that if she gives you like a direct order, you have to obey it. Like
Elle Enchanted.
I was gonna compare it to vampires. Like a sire bond. Like when a vampire turns you, like you're connected to them and stuff, and you have to obey them. Yeah. That's what's happening here. They're all vampires because they're immortal.
Oh boy. That's a whole AU that you just came up with. That's a whole AU. Gods as vampires AU? Like, come on.
Oh my god. It's way too late for this to be like a Halloween special thing.
Yeah, that ship has fucking sailed, but
damn it. Oh, that would have been a funny, like, rewrite that fanfic. Okay. So Atlas wants to make all the Olympians take turns carrying this. Do you think all the Olympians can do it? Do they all have the strength?
Yeah, they got it. It's fine. I can't think of anybody who'd like fuck it up.
Let's see. Zeus, I feel like he'd be crying the entire time, but like pretending he's not.
This
like,
guy is his whole shit.
Fine,
he's
fine.
fine.
No. I think Zeus is a pussy, but that's just me personally. Poseidon's okay, I guess. Hera, she lifts. Like, I think she secretly lifts.
Yeah, she's got it.
Athena, we already know she's super buff. That's canon. Demeter, yeah, she's fine. Who would fuck? Apollo would fuck this up. I think Apollo would somehow fuck this up. He'd be like, Daddy, no, help me! I can't lift it!
But he can lift it, though. He's just whining.
Yeah,
like, come on.
No, that's the problem. Apollo would just whine the entire time. Because he's a twink.
He is. Apollo is trying to seduce some strong man. I need somebody to take the sky for me. Can you... It's like when you're like, oh, my books are so heavy.
Yeah. I feel like if Dionysus was told, you have to lift the sky, this is your punishment now, he'd be like, nah, fuck the mortals. Just I'm just gonna drop it. Yep. I think that's how it happens. Because isn't it, it's voluntary for everyone except Titans, right? That's how they described it?
I didn't think so. I thought you can only get out of it if somebody else takes it from you. Like,
technically it doesn't have to be held. Like technically,
are you sure?
I think technically it doesn't have to be held, but
I don't think that you can leave. Like, once it's pushing down on you, it's impossible to get out because the weight is pushing down on you. Like, you can't move.
Okay, that's fair.
At least that is what I got from the description in the book.
How about this? That's what I get from Percy, who is, 13? 14?
Uh-huh.
He's not that buff right now. Like, that's...
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy. Like, that's why it's gonna murder him. He's gonna go splat. Percy Jackson, the blue pancake.
Anyways, hey, Annabeth has gray streaks in her hair. How come we never talk about that?
What do you mean we never talk about that? The entire fandom never stops talking about the gray streaks, okay?
Do they? I feel like I don't see them in fan art and shit.
Okay, Raye, there's a separate reason for that.
I'm just dumb and forgot things, huh?
Maybe it has to do with later books and them stopping having the gray streaks for no apparent reason.
I see how it is. Don't worry about it then. Probably cut all this out.
But like, no, but the good fan artists still do the gray streaks. The good,
as they should. Like,
the
we
good
can't just
cosplayers?
retcon that. That's dumb. They should have them because that's like the whole shit.
The good cosplayers also do the gray streaks.
Good.
I see you, Robert. I see you with your gray streak. I gotta call them out.
I guess I just don't, I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time in the fandom, as I think I've mentioned before, so, like, I just, like, see the fan art when it's going, like, around.
I feel like I don't spend a lot of time interacting with other people. I just, like, see posts of things, if you know what I mean. I don't talk to other people most of the time. I just see posts and hear the drama from afar.
As is good and correct. I don't even ever pay attention to any fandom drama if I can help it. Like, God, some fandoms make it impossible. But
so is it just like, so anyone who holds this, and I guess is like a mortal person, gets a streak? So Annabeth has it, Percy has it, and Luke.
Yep. They mentioned that earlier, didn't they? That he had, like, gray in his hair now?
Well, he also looks sickly right now. I think that's
does.
A bit separate. Like, it's hard to tell if his hair is gray from that or not, because he's looking real bad.
Because he's looked like shit ever since he was down under there.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that he was... I don't know. When you were listing people, I was like, who else was there? Oh, right.
Yeah, I feel like
Luke.
we all forget that Luke also held the sky. Everyone's like, oh, look, Percy and Annabeth, they got their, like, little matching gray streaks, and, like, it's so cute. And I'm just, like, sitting here, guys, they also share that with Luke. They also share the burden with Luke. Like,
that kind of makes sense. That even if you were, like, viewing that as, like, a weird connection thing, it's like a rivals thing, or like I don't know. I feel like that works for me in, like, a weird way.
Everyone talks about it as, like, the ship thing. Like, Percy and Annabeth, the ship, they have the matching gray streaks, and they're, like, soulmates or whatever. But I'm just like, yeah, but Luke also has it. But, like... Are you saying that, like, Luke's also their soulmate? What are you saying, guys? What are you saying here? Think about it.
I know that other people are viewing it as, like, purely a romantic ship thing. I'm saying that I can take that romantic ship thing and make it into a thing that is romantic for them specifically, but is also, like, a platonic... Don't worry about it. I like it, though.
I mean, I also think that, like, you should have it for, like, the whole Percy and Luke being, like, two sides of the same coin. Like, they need to have, like, some of those shared things.
Yeah, it's
so,
interesting.
Like, I don't know, it's one of those
spicy.
things where it's, like, you have it for both of them, but then you also have it for, like, the ship dynamic. Then it's like, wait, why are we connecting these three? I mean, there are reasons, but also, like, weird, awkward,
I feel like you're thinking about your relationships too rigidly.
I am.
Rigidly. I'm very wishy-washy about... I'm like, your relationship is whatever you want it to be. Labels, defining boxes, who give a shit? Human connection comes in all kinds of shapes.
I just want to remind people that, like, this love triangle, if it includes Luke, is kind of gross because he's, like, 22 right now.
Yeah, holy fuck, bro, you're so fucking old. These are little babies.
Like, that's the only reason why I'm just like, I don't like this. Like,
yeah.
I don't.
No,
I
you're
don't
right.
want to include
like,
that part.
if you, like, logic that whole thing out, is sus, but...
It's very sus. Anyway, let's move away from this. I'm sorry I keep bringing it up. Yeah, okay, so how they explain this here. It's the point where the sky and the earth first met. Interesting. Because technically...
Yeah.
I think Gaia technically gave birth to Uranus, however you fucking want to pronounce his name. She technically is his mom, as well as lover. It's always gross.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's the gods.
They're primordial concepts of shit. Don't worry about it too much.
Weird to describe it as the sky still yearns to embrace the earth. Bro, he is dead. I already explained this to you, Raye. But, like, he is dead. Kronos fucking murdered him.
That's fucked up.
That is a dead body in the sky. The sky is a dead body.
Just a corpse up there. That's so fucked up.
That's fine. The fact that it's, like, it would just, like, crush the mountain, and everything a little bit. But, like, it's fine. I don't think that means that, like, everything would be destroyed, though. Technically, you could survive that.
You think so?
I think it would just take California down.
Makes a joke about California sucking. It's like, no great loss.
I was making a joke about, like, how California is going to be sucked into the ocean one day. This is what happens. This is how it happens, is that
God.
Atlas fucking lets go of the sky, or, like, somebody does.
But see,
and that's
what
how...
we've already kind of established is that you can't. Like, somebody's under there. Like, it's a no escape situation. Zero escape. Like the video games. So, like, I'm trying to, like, I feel like I'm doing, like, one of those problems where it's, like, you have the chicken and the fox and the seed, and you gotta get them. It's like, how do you get everyone out from under the sky? Okay,
Raye, hear me out here. Percy wouldn't have lasted long. So again, Percy could have gone splat. The sky could have been dropped.
So you put a mortal under it and then you let them die, is what you're saying.
Like, there is technically a way for it to drop.
Okay, no.
No?
Well, they toss Atlas under it, and he's, like, flat, and it falls on his back while he's, like, laying down. And so if you're laying down like a corpse, I think that you still are technically holding it. But the thing is that humans decompose, so eventually...
I'm just gonna say that it's possible, because anything is possible if you just believe. Anyway. I think there's a way for it to happen, because they wouldn't explain the fact that it would flatten the mountain and everything within 100 leagues if someone didn't
If there wasn't a way to put it down.
Like, if there wasn't a way to put it down, you wouldn't bother explaining that. So that means there must be a way to put it down. Okay. Sorry.
Apparently you just need to build some cool pillars that look like Heracles.
Just fucking
and then
do
you're,
it!
like, good.
Why don't they fucking do that? I mean, the reason they don't do that is so, like, Atlas has to carry the burden,
because we want Atlas to be doing this because we hate him.
We hate him.
And, like, chopping him up would be a lot of work.
Yeah, that's too much work.
And apparently it hasn't stopped Kronos from being, like, a dick about shit, so...
It doesn't stop you, so... Can't do it. Okay. The fact that he's like, I'm just gonna have Luke crush you, because I don't really want to fight you. Percy's like, come at me, bro. And Atlas is like, no, technically you have to come at me first.
Right.
Yeah,
he's not like, I mean, he is like, I don't feel like fighting you because you're below me. But the reason that he's like that is that, he's not allowed. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But if Percy hits him, then he can hit back. In which case, Percy, why did you hit him?
The gods are technically just always on defense. Yeah, they're just never on offense. They can't be. By the rules of this universe.
They can do a lot of shit. Like, they can turn a guy into some kind of critter if they feel like it. Apparently they just can't hit him with a spear unless the situation calls for it.
Usually they turn a guy into a critter if, like, they did something wrong. Like, Artemis turns people into stuff when they see her naked. So, like, you still did something. To offend a god.
So there has to be a reason.
Yeah.
You have to have... I don't know. They're kind of fickle.
They are. It's true. Like, the reason can be very small, but, like, there has to be something. You have to, like, look at them wrong, and it's like, you are now, a rodent. Goodbye. Okay, where does Luke get this random magic? He waves his hand.
I was thinking about that too.
Makes a pool of water, waves his hand again. A bronze brazier appears. Like, someone explain
sacrificial
this.
flame.
What
yeah,
is
because he's making shit for Bessie to kill her.
I don't
Kill him.
know if you remember this, but technically, he's also teleported before. In The Lightning Thief, like, at the very end, after he betrays Percy, he just, like, opens up a fissure, he uses his sword, swings, and, like, opens up, like, a portal and jumps through it.
I think Luke's D&D class is Warlock. He has a patron.
Oh my god, you're right!
Yeah, so I'm assuming that this is like Chronos shit, and he just lets Luke wave his hands because he's like, if it makes you feel good about it.
This is so true. You're right. You're right, and you should say it.
Thank you for validating my D&D classes.
I was gonna say Luke is just like a fighter because Percy is a fighter, and therefore they both have to be fighters.
Yeah, I feel like there is a way to class your warlocks so that they also have, like, melee specs,
But again, multi-classing does exist. Like,
yes, multi-classing does exist, but I think you can make a warlock who also uses a sword. I feel like that's, like, a thing I have seen.
You can also just fudge some things. Like, there's always a way you can fudge some D&D stuff.
Oh yeah, if you want to play some bullshit character, you can absolutely do that, and no one can stop you.
Just saying.
My character, I want us to go faster, and I'm probably just gonna cut this out anyways, but my character right now is a turtle who's a rogue, which is the least good idea anybody's ever had. The turtle's class shit is so bad for dicks. Don't worry about it.
Oh god. Turtle. I still love that name. Anyway, so Percy just has to, like, not think about Bessie. That's, like, the funniest, like, cutest thing.
I forgot about this, because, like, they're trying to tempt Talia to do it. Percy's honestly closer to doing it, just straight up by accident.
It's because he's thinking about his bestie. His little bestie, who's a cow snake. Like, I don't think Thalia can actually summon Bessie. I think it's all Percy.
You don't think so? I'm pretty sure
I think we've talked about
that
this.
They're implying that it's a big three thing.
I know.
Like, we've talked about this before, like, whether or not she has, like, some connection to Bessie because of this shit. I think yes. I think that this answers that yes, it is a big three thing and not just Percy.
I think we might have to agree to disagree, because I still think it's just, like, Percy is his protector, and that's why.
Okay, but why would they think that, then?
They just don't know. They just don't know that Percy's the one who can summon Bessie. They think it's Thalia.
But they had this idea before Percy ever met Bessie.
True. They think it's because, Thalia's the next of, like, the prophecy, so it has to be her who can summon Bessie. But, maybe this means she's not the one in the prophecy? I don't know. Who's to say? Who's to say?
We will have to agree to disagree on this.
Yeah, it's fine. So think about other things. Basketball players, skateboards, different kinds of candy.
Oh, Percy.
Like, Percy, skater boy. Anyway, continue. Always bringing that up. Always bring up the skater boy. Okay, what is this bullshit Luke's saying? He's like, it can be like old times, the three of us together. Thalia's like, you let go of Annabeth. You have, like, a knife to her throat. Dude, this is not friendship, bro.
And, okay, where are your vibes at? Is he, like, completely off his rocker?
He is.
Or is he just trying to manipulate Thalia with that? You know?
Both?
Like, does he honestly think that Annabeth will want to hang out after this? And the answer is maybe yes, but also it could just be a manipulation tactic.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget that, like, his dad is kind of the god of trickery and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, and also he's an ass. Like,
yeah, like, he is an ass, but I'm just saying, like, it could be one of his powers.
What's
Who knows?
the meme? It's like mansplain, manipulate, male wife.
Yes, Luke is a male wife. Didn't you know?
I don't think that we can mansplain manipulate our way out of this one, boys.
Oh my god. Also, some foreshadowing of something else. Luke being like, it's my last chance. He will use the other way if you don't agree. We don't know what this is.
Ooh. Where's that? Oh, yes. I was like, okay.
Right after, he's like, the three of us together.
Okay, so I guess all that really sets up is that we actually do thwart the plan here. Or at least it seems that we do. There can always be a twist later in the book.
Always.
Because in the other 2 books so far, no plans have been thwarted. We played exactly into Kronos' hands.
Exactly.
This, it seems like we might have actually done a thwarting. But we've just established that they have a backup plan.
Yeah.
If that line is accurate, which it appears to be, because he says that Luke seems afraid, then they have a backup plan, and it involves Luke not having a great time. So
yeah. So maybe they thwarted a little bit. Just a little bit of thwarting.
They have thwarted Plan A. Plan B is a go.
Yep. We're on Plan B. Yeah. So I forgot the sarcophagus is just, like, here. Like,
yeah, it's just
the
chilling.
entire time. What the fuck? Like, why we're having a whole battle, and there's just a sarcophagus here. Why does nobody just, like, slam into it and, like, just shove it off the cliff? I'm sorry.
God, please.
How does that not happen? It's just right there.
Once you push Luke down, just send Kronos down there with him. Just do it, somebody. Real quick before we leave.
And then it just crushes Luke's body again.
God.
Sorry. No wait, like he's gone splat, and then it just like goes right on top of him and then squishes him. Like fully. Yeah. Anyway, so we're technically still raising Mount Othris. It's here, but we I guess need to raise the palace?
Yes, it's very interesting. Like, the ruins around them, they're building themselves up with, like, black marble, like, as this fight is going on. It's really,
It's weird.
That would be a cool visual in the TV show.
Oh,
if
yeah.
they have the budget to do, like, that kind of thing.
God, I hope they have the budget for so many good things in this show.
I know. They can't do everything. They won't. They'll probably be under budgeted in the first place.
Oh,
and
definitely.
I want nice things, and I just don't know.
It's gonna look like a low-budget Marvel show. And, like, that's my worst fear. But it's gonna happen. But you know what? Actually, you know what? I will still enjoy it, even if it has the really shitty CGI of Once Upon a Time. And that is, like, still my favorite.
Because you enjoyed Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, like,
so.
that is one of my favorite shows. And it had Disney money. And they still were just like, no.
You remember the Wizards of Waverly Place movie?
Yeah.
Where they, like, did give them more of a budget than, like, the show, but it still looks kind of janky? That's where I'm hoping we're about at, you know?
I feel like it looks jankier because it's like, we have a budget, but, like, we don't know what to do with it.
it does, but...
We don't know what to do with this budget, so it's gonna look real weird.
Yeah, maybe that's not where I'm hoping that we're at. Maybe that's where I'm assuming we'll be at.
Yeah.
And that it will still be about the same level of CGI as it was, like, 10 years ago when they made the Wizards of Waverly Place movie or whatever.
Oh my god. Let's continue on here.
Let's continue.
We just got, like, a whole fucking army, marching up the side of the mountain.
Yeah, we do.
It's interesting that, like, oh, like, this is supposed to be, like, a whole thing, and, like, they're marching up, it's foreboding and all this shit. I always forget that this happens, because, like, it's not...
Yeah, it's really not...
It's anticlimactic, actually. Like, they don't actually come up the side of the mountain in time for the fight.
Well, the climax of that is, what happens later, so I'm skipping ahead too much. But, like, the climax is everyone's sitting to spare, the army is almost here, and then the climactic thing is Dr. Chase coming in.
Right, technically. I don't know, I just keep thinking, like...
That's the good shit.
My brain is just like, Artemis just, like, whisked them out of there. Like, it's fine. They had a get-out-of-jail-free card on this one, so, like, why is this army even important? I'm sorry. Like, they just, like, seem so, like, little to me. Maybe it's a reread thing.
Okay. My thought was that the army isn't that important in this scene, except for, you know, bringing back Dr. Chase and having the payoff of that and how cool that is. But what's important about them is that, like the rest of this book, we are establishing that the enemy is an army, that we are at war.
True. This book is the we're at war. We are at war book. Things are happening. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a reread thing where I'm like, oh yeah, that That's a thing. But I'm more focused on the fact that Artemis just gets them out of there. So, like, I'm not worried about it at all.
I see.
It's probably just a reread problem.
It makes sense, yeah. I was just really fucking excited about Dr. Chase, because I did not remember that shit, and I was like,
oh, I remembered it, but I also thought it was a lot bigger. I thought he came in the middle of the fight, actually. Like, I thought he came, like, right now when they all charge, and he's just, like, there the whole time. But he's there at, like, the end. I don't know, I thought his part was bigger. This is important, where Thalia's, like, fully acknowledging, you're not Luke. I don't know you. Like, runs into battle.
Okay, what's interesting about that to me is that psychologically that is also not healthy. Like, first Thalia is at, like, Luke hasn't betrayed me. Like, I am not going to acknowledge that he is my enemy specifically. And now she's like, you're not the Luke I knew. Like, I don't know you, and you mean nothing to me. And it's like, they are the same person, and you kind of have to acknowledge that to accurately be able to predict what your enemy is going to do, you need to know that your enemy is a person. And, Percy also does this. He's like, I could almost believe that he actually cared about Annabeth, but obviously he didn't because he sucks. And it's like, he can suck and deep down care about Annabeth. And that, is like a thing.
So my brain just like went immediately to like the 5 stages of grief and where Thalia is at there. So
yeah.
So she was in the denial stage for most of this book, and now she's in the anger stage. Right? That's why she's like, you aren't Luke, I'm gonna fight you. Like, I'm angry about this.
But the thing about that is that that's also kind of denial at the same time.
It is.
It's denial plus anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where she's at right now.
I don't know. Let's maybe we could like continue this
Double grief.
And see if like it like progresses past that.
Yeah.
Later.
Well, I feel like they already kind of did bargaining because they tried to bargain with her. That didn't work.
I don't think that's related. I think that's a different kind of bargaining.
That is a little different.
I think you're just being silly right now. Okay, I love that she goes straight for Luke, just like full on. The dragon ladies are like, nope, that's a scary shield. Goodbye.
Her shield's really scary. So yeah, this is really just 2 fights going on, which is Thalia versus Luke, and then Percy versus Atlas, backed up by Zoe.
Yeah. Oh, so Raye, I don't remember if I've explained to you a little thing about Luke's sword. So you know it's named Backbiter, right?
I do indeed.
That is also another name for Loki.
Oh, that's funny.
So Loki, the trickster deity, and Luke, whose dad is the trickster deity. Is I just thought it was fun. It's cute.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Okay, so like Percy, you idiot. You actually didn't have to fight Atlas.
Yeah, 100%. According to his own bullshit rules, he can't do shit if you just don't do this.
Like, okay, it's funny that he's like thinking about Chiron in his head when literally Atlas said it like 2 pages ago. The same exact fucking thing, but like different wording.
Well, and I mean, I don't think that he didn't know that. I think that he's just real dumb. I don't know.
It's the ADHD.
I don't really know why he does this.
It is the ADHD being like, bro, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna like do a thing. Rush into it.
And I mean, Talia seemed to be okay with the fact that he did that, so like,
she doesn't care right now. She's not thinking about her battle tactics. She's thinking about, I must crush Luke.
Okay, the thing is that plot-wise, they had to be in a fight with Atlas,
True.
or else they couldn't have gotten him back under the shit.
True. You are correct.
And so, but Percy couldn't have known that they'd be able to get him back under the shit.
True.
So I don't...
It's just a lot of layers of like, Percy didn't have to directly do it, because there's just a lot of reasons why he's not a match for Atlas. Like, this version of Percy is not able to fight a Titan right now.
And then there's also the fact that his sword betrays him when he needs it the most. Which is just... Because I also don't feel like he's even a match for Atlas, but But
it's worse. It's so much worse.
But he gets kind of nerfed, which implies that maybe he could have, because normally that's why you nerf your character during a fight.
I feel like Percy could have at least held his own. Maybe not defeated him, but he at least could have done, like, what he did in the Ares fight. Where he just, like, nicked him a little bit, and he still didn't die, you know?
Yeah, Anaclusmos going over the cliff gives us a reason for him to think about Artemis and go pick up the sky.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I feel like the complaints that we're having about this scene are only, like, something you would notice or complain about if you were overthinking it way too hard.
True.
I feel like the scene is fine.
It's because we are overanalyzing things and going moment by moment. I also just want to know, is, like, the Ares curse that he has placed upon him, is this it? Is it, like, not gonna come up again? I don't remember if it does.
I don't know, because until you said that just now, I was thinking yes, or, like, that's what I would have probably said. But now that you bring that up, it's like, all that it said is when you need it most. And so that curse could totally still be on it and just be like, your sword is cursed forever. But that would suck. You would want to get a new sword if that was the case.
I assume it's not on his sword specifically. I think it's just like when you are in battle. I want to assume that Ares is more, you know, not literal with it. I don't know. Because Anaclusmos is such a specific item, and there's also the fact that we brought up earlier that, like, Percy started thinking of it as a cursed blade. I think he cursed the blade. So, not now, Riptide. Titan's curse must one withstand. Percy has to yield
Indeed.
In this moment and be like, my friends have to do the thing, and not me. Isn't that some, like, humility a little bit?
I do not think so. I think that Percy is as self-sacrificing as always.
You know?
In this moment.
You're not wrong.
He's like, I could literally die doing this? Okay, bet. Give me that thing.
So it's a different form of self-sacrifice. He's like, I'm no good in the fight right now, but
you're correct that normally he wants to rush into, like, head-on shit rather than, like, the background thing.
He's staying on the sidelines, but he's still doing something that is very fucking important and could still kill him. So it's still such a Percy thing. It's both.
Percy's like, I support my friends. I can support anything, even
the entire sky. You know, that dead guy?
I'm currently protecting everyone on the planet.
Oh my god.
With my recklessness.
Just put the Superman cape on him. Just do it. Okay? Yeah. I mean, at least Artemis's chains weren't hard to get through. He just, like, frees her and then, like, takes the sky.
And then I do like the battle descriptions while he's, like, fuzzy on the sky. Under the sky.
Do you like Grover in his head? Like Grover is like, fight back, don't give up. Like,
oh yeah, because they were chatting before that. So.
Like, well, they have the empathy link.
Yeah, so if Percy dies doing this, then Grover will also die. So clearly he's not feeling great.
Grover will turn into a plant or something. It's fine. It's fine.
I bet he wouldn't like that very much, though.
Or will it be a crushed plant?
He's busy.
He'll turn into a crushed leaf.
That'd be fucked up.
Yeah, it would be. I'm sorry. But I just think it's cute that, like, Grover feels this weight, like, literal weight upon Percy and is like, hey bro, I got your back. I'm in your head. You're okay. You got this.
It's like in an anime when you're like, I hear the voices of my friends. They believe in me. But, like, literally.
Yeah. You know? I still wish Percy Jackson could be an anime. I've seen the fan art. I've seen it.
It'd be pretty cool. Why don't they make cartoons out of more things that,
you know,
are expensive to make CGI?
I liked the idea people had where they were like, make Percy Jackson into a cartoon, that way the actors won't age out of it.
Oh, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
That was, and yeah, also, like, the CGI and such. Like, it's so much easier, but...
And it would be very cool, but
I
apparently...
support the live action.
Everybody's like, Yeah,
I love it.
It's gonna be fun and great, and I'm very excited.
I don't think we would have gotten Black Annabeth if not for the live action. So
yeah.
I support it.
I'm just saying, studios hate animation so fucking much.
It's true.
Just animate things sometimes. It's so cool and good.
You know what? You know what they'll do? Wait. I have an idea. I have a great idea. So here we go. If they possibly do get all, like, 5 seasons, like, all the 5 books made into the Disney Plus series, they do that. And then when they move to, like, Heroes, they go to animation and have the live action actors become the voice actors.
That would probably work, to be honest. Like, yeah.
It's an idea in my brain. Am I a genius? Probably not, but, like, I had an idea.
Spin-off animated shows are, like, totally a thing, right?
They are.
Right.
Okay, but, like, this moment when Atlas says, "You fight well for a girl."
That's so fucked up. God.
I mean, it totally is, like, a thing that I can imagine this guy saying to Artemis.
Yeah, like, specifically him, because he's, like, a weird dick about things. But it's also, okay, because I don't think that the gods are supposed to be misogynistic in this. Like, I feel like they're supposed to have, like, a whole, I don't know, because there is, like, this thing where women are goddesses of certain things, but also Artemis is a war goddess, and so I don't really know where they're at.
But she is like a fighty goddess, if that makes sense.
Not Artemis.
You mean Athena?
I always do that. I meant Athena, yes.
Okay.
I literally always do that. Yes, Athena's a war goddess, but they do seem to have certain ideas of tradition about gender, and so I don't know. But would the Titans have traditions about genders? I don't know that either. They're old and so presumably conservative, I think, is where Rick is going with this. I think he's trying to say that Atlas is your weird conservative grandpa and that he fucking sucks.
I'm also gonna say that, like, a lot of the gods are like that, honestly.
Are they in the series, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know per se.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Zeus is old and conservative. I think so.
Yeah, probably. It feels like, but
he's just like, Athena, you're my favorite daughter.
But I feel like this is the kind of thing that Rick avoids, like, bringing up most of the time because he knows that it makes people uncomfortable when they're reading it. Because he's trying to be actively inclusive.
Remember one thing about all these deities, they were all written down by men, all of their stories.
Ha ha ha.
So, like, as much as you can say, oh, this is, like, a feminist thing, they're all still written by men, so, like, I can't have complex thoughts about this, but, like...
Yeah, we do not have the time.
We don't have the time for this, but Athena really is kind of a man's goddess.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
She doesn't do great things.
But... But specifically, this is like, I feel like almost the one time in this series where someone is going to actively belittle someone because of their gender. Like,
okay.
I don't know. Like, obviously there is, like, gendered, like, shit in the books because it exists in a gendered society and it's also written by a man.
Whoa,
who
really?
Also hadn't necessarily examined all of his shit at this point in time. And, like, you know, sometimes this shit happens. But...
This is also the, like, hashtag fight like a girl book. If there ever was a book like that in this series, this is it. This is the hashtag fight like a girl. Yo, girls are cool. Girls can be badass. Like, that's what this book is, you know?
Uh-huh. This is the book with the gender.
We've got the warrior women.
And also, if you're a badass girl, that means that you hate men so fucking bad.
Yes!
But yeah. So, specifically because we've set her up to be that kind of character, then people are going to try to put her down that kind of way, and I'm talking about this way too fucking much.
Yeah.
It's just a weird moment almost, because I feel like it's not something we typically see.
Yeah.
But it's also something that does happen to people in real life. I don't know. I feel kind of weird about it. That's my conclusion.
I feel like all the time, whenever I want to start saying things about this stuff, I'm like, I can't have complex thoughts about this. Everything's already been said.
I'm like trying to have complex thoughts, and I'm just fucking rambling, so.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't word the things to make it sound good. So, someone's probably said it before.
I'm sure that they have.
They did literally fight next to the golden coffin, and nobody tossed it over the side. God damn it. Yeah. Oh my god. What do we think about this moment where Annabeth has somehow gotten free, and she's like, don't kill him! We'll bring Luke back! It'll be fine! I guess she just, like, wants to save him?
Mm-hmm.
Is this...
She cares about him, you know?
Is this part of her, like, the whole thing in Sea of Monsters? Remember when the sirens showed her what she wants in the world? How she can fix Luke? Is that, like, what this is? You know? I'm good enough to fix him.
Yeah, kind of, probably. She cares about Luke. That is her friend. She has a crush on him. She believes that he can be good again. That's what she wants more than anything else in the world. And so, she's also already said that she has a hubris issue in her life. She wants control over things. She thinks that she can do them better. I 100% believe that Annabeth thinks, I can fix him. I just need the chance. I just need to be able to talk to him, and I can convince him. He's still my friend. I can change him.
You know what? I just had a thought about the whole siren thing, and remember how Percy wasn't in that vision? It was just, it's because the things that were in that vision were things that she needed to fix, and Percy is not someone she needs to fix. You get it?
You're very proud of that one, huh?
I am. I really am. That is another point for Percybeth. Listen, this is the real beginning of Percybeth, the book. Am I wrong? He went on a quest to save her.
Yeah, they had an awkward dance once.
Yep.
You skipped over them pushing Atlas back under the sky and him being like, not again! God.
Oh, sorry.
This guy.
Not again!
That's all I wanted to say. I think that's so fucking funny to me. That's all.
Yeah, it's funny and no one really cares. Goodbye, Atlas. They're all just, like, still here, like, talking, while Atlas is just, like, over in the corner, and no one cares.
Yeah, he yelling. Like, you know. He's the whole time.
Again, imagine that scene in the TV show where he's just, like, off in the corner yelling, like, someone help me! And they're all just, like, talking amongst themselves.
Well, they got shit going on.
Yeah.
They just accidentally pushed Luke off a cliff.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. I'm like, so Luke is dead? His broken form on the rocks. This is, like...
That's fucked up.
That's graphic.
Like, I joked that it was like a Disney villain where you, like, push them off a cliff and then it's like, oh, they're dead. That's not what happens! We see his broken form!
How many Disney villains got pushed off of cliffs? It is a trope. Let's see, we got...
It's a not insignificant number.
Evil Queen?
The Evil Queen.
Gaston.
Yes, Gaston. Clayton, sort of, but that was more of a hanging.
Yeah, I give him a half point. Mother Gothel, it's not a cliff. It's not a cliff, but she falls off the tower.
Yes, that too.
Scar,
definitely.
Scar, true. He falls, but then he's eaten.
He falls, but then he's fine, but then it's not fine.
So, like, that's like...
So that's also just half a point.
So that's 4.
Like, Gothel, I would say, is a full point.
Yeah. It's a trope. It is a thing that happens.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Disney villains be dying off of cliffs, and Luke is a Disney villain!
Oh, he is! You're right. Yeah, so that's rough for Annabeth specifically, huh?
Yeah. And I guess Thalia, it's also rough for her, but she's still, like, mad, I guess.
Also, the army is, like, angry, which knowing that, like, those were people on the Princess Andromeda specifically, and that's, like...
Yeah.
That's, like, his crew that he, like, gathered together, pretty much.
Yep.
He's actually their leader. That's, you know, it's weird to think about that he's, like, the head of some shit in this whole thing.
Sorry, my brain just went to, like, what if they're just, like, don't care. He's still, like, a half-blood, and then, like, they just start chomping on him. Because they're monsters, and they eat demigods!
Yeah. Most of the monsters we know, absolutely. They're like, ooh, free a demigod? Fuck yes.
What did my brain just say? Free Shavakadu?
God. But yeah, Luke was doing pretty well for himself for 22. he was moving up in the world, in the company, you know?
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
Not anymore.
No, he isn't.
Poor Talia also, she was in denial. Anger denial. That was still, like, her friend, though, that she, accidentally pushed off a cliff.
And now she's gone directly to depression.
Oh yeah, straight to depression, you're right. You know, we were just talking about the stages of grief. Annabeth is in the bargaining stage, and has been for a while.
Yo! You're correct. Yeah, so, I also did miss the part where Zoe literally was swatted. You mentioned it in the summary, but Zoe literally was swatted by a parent's hand?
Yeah, like, a backhand. Like, fucked up, bro. But that is how you, like, when somebody gets hit and they, like, fly into a wall, you're like, ooh, that's probably bad.
Yeah. But, like, the thing in the prophecy, parent's hand.
And we reveal that she's been poisoned.
Yep.
So that's not good either.
I think I almost spoiled that last chapter. It's fine. And now she can't see the stars. Okay, this is interesting.
Oh yeah, that fucks me up. Because what she's talking about is that there's other hunters who have become constellations before. Those are her sisters. That's why she cares about the stars.
I think it's only one. I think it's just the one, and it's Callisto, who she's already mentioned to have hunted. So that's fucked up.
Don't worry about it. We made our own shit for that. Don't think about it too hard. I like my interpretation. I think it's good. I
thought you were gonna say something about, like, the stars and, like, the celestial spheres because her dad is Atlas. I thought you were gonna make that connection.
Nah, her dad sucks.
Yeah, so Percy is like, hey, we gotta go and save her, and no one is moving, no one is thinking about it.
Percy is an action boy. Everybody else is not having a good time.
It's because he was taken out of the action, like, pretty quickly, so he's like, we gotta get back into it. And then then we have a fucking Deus Ex Machina, but guess what? It's not a Deus Ex Machina because it's a mortal man. That's the funny part.
And also because we did set up that he has a plane. But where the fuck did he get celestial bronze?
His daughter?
Enough for, like, machine guns? Like, how many fucking bullets is that? Like,
You know what? It might be explained. Okay? Maybe.
Or it might not. It very potentially could be explained. But right now I'm like, hey, what the fuck?
Maybe she just, like, brought some armor home and, like, left it there?
That still seems like a lot of celestial bronze. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a plain machine gun. It's firing very fast, and the bullets are probably pretty big. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's just the bullets. It's not like the bullet casings, too. I don't know how that works, actually. Why am I talking about machine guns? I know nothing about guns.
Me neither, but I think it's probably a lot of celestial bronze is all I'm saying.
I know that one thing, because of Ace Attorney, like the burn mark around if you shoot too close.
The barrel marks.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know about guns, and it's because of fucking Ace Attorney. So it doesn't count.
Alright, where are we at? Like I said, I think earlier, I did not remember that he does this, and I was like, holy shit, I was like really excited, honestly. It's pretty great.
I remembered it, but like I said, I thought it happened, like, earlier. I didn't think it was just, like, a page. It
is the Deus Ex Machina to get them out of there.
Yeah.
Although, it's not really a Deus Ex Machina because it was set up. What the Deus Ex Machina is the chariot, because we did not know she had
Correct.
that.
It is the chariot. Yeah, also just Annabeth being, like, so confused, like, that's my dad. That's my dad!
Oh,
what the fuck?
I kind of wasn't even thinking about the fact that Annabeth was, like, that she wouldn't know that they even, like, talked to him.
To
like,
her, that
for
is
her, he really did.
A Deus Ex Machina. So.
Yeah. She's just, like, standing there in amazement. I love this man.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
I love this man. Mrs. Chase, you are a lucky woman.
Yeah, and that's that on that.
I would say Athena's also lucky, but, like, they were just platonic besties. Like,
you can be a lucky woman by having a cool platonic bestie.
I mean, I want him to be more than a platonic bestie is the problem.
He's
a DILF.
Yeah.
We mentioned it last chapter. He's a fucking DILF.
Yeah.
And then the end of this chapter is just Artemis being like, get in, we're going shopping. Sorry, get in, losers, we're going shopping. It's Santa's sleigh, everybody.
Yep.
And Raye and I had a conversation before we started recording about how I couldn't get a myth section about that because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay, so what we kind of discovered is that Selene has myths about pulling a moon chariot, but it does not come up in Artemis stuff. So presumably she could have one.
Yeah. Artemis has a chariot. Every single one of the gods is technically described as having their own chariot with their own animals pulling it of some kind. Artemis specifically, I don't believe is described as pulling the moon chariot, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So when this came up in the chapter, I wasn't thinking of it as a moon chariot. I don't think that is brought up in the chapter. I was assuming that they must have mentioned something about it because you were bringing it up, but that didn't even occur to me.
It occurs to me because it's like the moonlight brightened, the silver chariot appeared in the sky. It is supposed to be the moon.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense, and I wasn't, paying a bunch of attention to that. But I feel like it doesn't have to be. That could just be, her chariot was summoned because of moon power.
Okay, so if you want to be technical, so here is the Wikipedia. A golden chariot is what she has. This is silver. She also has 4 golden horned deer. This is silver.
Well, I think that Rick just changed that because her aesthetic is silver and it makes more sense.
True.
Because it's the moon.
True. I prefer the whole, the sun is gold, the moon is silver. I think that's a pretty good aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm always down with some silver moon shit. So, I am not sure if the book is implying that that's the moon or not. I think that you're right, and it probably is.
I think it's at least an implication. Do I dare go into the Riordan wiki? Let's see. I think it came up when I searched Moon Chariot. Also known as the Moon Chariot, Artemis's chariot.
Okay.
So, it's the implication in the books, at least.
Yes, in the Riordan verse, she has a silver moon chariot, and that's a whole thing.
Yeah, owned by Selene, given to Artemis, yada yada yada. It appears, in this book.
Glad we cleared that up. Anyways, let's go on to our plugs right now, immediately.
Oh, right, we do plugs. Alrighty, my dude. Well, guess what I started watching season 5 of, literally before recording. Instead of, reading the chapter, mostly, I was watching, Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh, I follow, at least one person who's, really into it, so I've been seeing people have a good time. I think I've only seen, partway through season 3, so
interesting.
I do like that show very much.
Interesting place to go. I mean, I will say, season 1 is skippable, other than the fact that it is it's got most of the iconic stuff that you will probably see that comes back in every season, because people get
well, season 1 is 1 episodic and 2 setup.
Yeah.
And so we're building some status quo, but I feel like there's a little, relationship development, that kind of thing. I started a rewatch not that long ago, and I was honestly surprised at how much, cool stuff happened in most episodes.
Yeah, what I mean is, all the villains that you see in season 1 do eventually, come back a few times over in different seasons.
Yeah,
so it's,
true.
All the iconic stuff in season 1, you're gonna see it again, so if you watch that, you'll get the context. But for people who don't know about this show, as that I'm rambling on about, Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, as it is called here. Also, fun history how it, in America alone, it was on Nickelodeon for a while, and now it since has moved to Disney, which, in every other country, it's distributed by Disney. So why was it a Nickelodeon for the first 3 seasons here? Why? I have questions there. But
the production of that show, the release of that show, everything about it is so messy. We can't even get into it. Like, it's for real.
The fact that it's actually still going on and it's on season 5 is still so wild to me. I would have thought it would have gotten canceled by now based on, like, all the weirdness that's happened with it, but it's a French-Korean anime.
You could say it's Miraculous.
Yeah, it is Miraculous.
Anyways, continue.
I still do consider it anime, despite it being CGI, but, like, that was the premise of it. Like, the original promo of it was that it was going to be traditional 2D anime.
It took me a second to get used to the animation. Yeah. It's fine, though.
It's because of Ladybug's outfit. Like, I think that's, like, a big part of why they went with CGI over the traditional, because of the spots.
Oh, I can see how that could be difficult.
It's so much easier to animate, and that's, like, she's the main character. You want to be able to animate that really well and have it be consistent. So, yeah.
Okay, get into the love square, because
the love square
is actually the draw of the show.
I fucking love it! Okay? So, we have 2 superheroes. They don't know each other's identities, but they're in love with each other, but, like, not. Marinette is in love with Adrian, and Adrian is in love with Ladybug, and Marinette is obviously Ladybug, and Adrian is obviously Cat Noir, but Marinette does not like Cat Noir, and Ladybug and Adrian are just awkward.
In order for this not to be confusing, you have to, like consider their superhero personas, like, different people.
They are different people. That's the problem.
Because that's what they do, because they don't know each other's secret identities. It is the identity shenanigans fandom. It's so fucking fun. I love it so much.
It is. Ladybug and Adrian cannot interact with each other because they are both in love with each other. And then Marinette and Cat Noir, like, just vibe because they don't think of each other as, like, love interests at all.
Potential romantic. Yeah. It's so good.
That's why Marinette and Cat Noir is, like, one of the bigger ships in the fandom too.
Yes. Okay. So the fandom has different ships for because each persona actually does, like, change the dynamic of the relationship. Yeah. And so you will have different ship names, and, like, they will be categorized differently depending on what persona the character is embodying as they are, like, building this relationship. Marichat, his superhero persona and her regular persona, who are not in love with each other, is the most popular, like, fanfiction, like, ship to set up, because then you get to grow that relationship organically throughout the thing, because neither of them think of each other that way.
I feel like that one's the most friends to lovers one out of all of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the least awkward, where they actually get to, like, talk to each other as normal people, because Marinette cannot talk to Adrian at all like a normal person, and Cat Noir is trying way too hard whenever he's around Ladybug. So, and then, like I said, Ladybug and Adrian just can't talk to each other at all, basically. Just like, I'm in love with that person right there.
It's a fun show. It goes some wild places. The fandom is hilarious.
Right now, so much is happening. Just so much. Just, like, God.
So I have heard. So I really need to catch up sometime.
My friend said things were happening in the Love Square, and I was like, oh right, I have some episodes on the DVR. I'm gonna catch up on that right now. So I was reading the chapter while it was on commercial break.
I see.
Because I was like, no, I need to finish this episode. I need to before I record. I gotta do it.
Aw.
It's a good show.
All right. Since I mentioned it earlier, I'll just plug Apocrypals. It's a podcast made by Benito Sereno and Chris Sims. What do they say? Where 2 non-believers read through the Bible and try not to be jerks about it. They don't actually read the Bible very often, though. Most of the time, they go over random Apocrypha, and it's a delight. I get to learn so many stories about a guy's head exploding because he fell over.
What the fuck?
And sometimes things that are old are very strange. Sometimes a woman kills a dragon, and you're like, fuck yes. And sometimes we talk about weird, boring shit, and then they're like, this was weird, boring shit. And you're like, cool. Because they're both, like, comic book nerds.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a biblical scholar, and one
Damn.
of them is really not that.
Well, yeah, that's the appropriate dynamic.
And he likes to make jokes about how everyone thinks he's dumb. I don't. I think he's a delight. Yeah, they're really funny. They give you a lot of really interesting historical context. They talk about comic books and will compare the Bible to things that have happened in comics because they're both comics writers. It's good. That's all.
Obviously, comics are just Bible fanfic. Didn't you know?
Some of them really are, especially if you're talking about the Old Testament, because a lot of original comic writers were Jewish.
Superman is just Moses. Did y'all not know that? Or not Moses. Yeah, Moses. Yeah. Sorry, my brain was just like, wait, am I thinking of the right person? Yes, I am. Oh my god. Anyway, get the fuck out of my fucking cabin.
That's fair.
I actually have to go hold up the sky for no apparent reason at all. Like, I just do. Like, you know, I could let it go and, like, a bunch of people would die. California would just, like, sink to the ocean. But, I'm just gonna go hold up the sky for a bit.
Bro, that sounds really dangerous. Did you know that that's 5.5 quadrillion tons?
You know what? Let's see if I can bench that.
You can follow the podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and at Of the Eldest Gods on Twitter. You can send an Iris message to us through oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, go to patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. By becoming a patron, you can join the Movie Night Crew Network server, where you get to chat with us and hear some no-context spoilers about episodes we are recording. I personally recommend the $5 tier, where you get access to Against All Odds, our bonus show where we talk about basically anything vaguely related to mythology, Percy Jackson, or whatever we like. We also have a merch store on TeePublic, where all our designs are made by Charlie. Or if you cannot support us financially, please give us a review on iTunes and rate us on Spotify to help others know how much you love this podcast. You can follow me, Raye, at HeyHeyRaye on Twitter. I also have another podcast called Barbie Movie Slap, where my co-host Ted and I talk about the Barbie cinematic universe. You can check out that podcast Twitter at Barbie Slaps.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, but on Twitter, I'm at GreenPixie123, which I'm totally not salty about. I also have an art Instagram that I sometimes use at GreenPixieDraws. I sometimes do the YouTube thing on my channel, Charlie Mack, that's MACK, and I also have another podcast on the network called Fandoms Gone Wrong, where my mom and I talk about movies, TV shows, books, whatever other fandoms we enjoy. You can find that on all the major podcasting apps. Our music was written by Isabel Strauss-Riggs and recorded and edited by Ian M. Riggs. You can find Izzy at Kane_I, that's I is in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. She also currently makes video essays on the YouTube channel Kane I. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast. Of the Oldest Gods is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like The Restricted Section, a chapter-by-chapter Harry Potter pod with lots of spoilers all the time.
What's up, potheads? We're the Restricted Section, a raunchy, rowdy, rambling, unabashedly pro-trans rights Harry Potter book club podcast hosted by a bunch of nihilistic millennial assholes who are desperately clinging to childhood fantasy as a way to escape the monotony of our 9-to-5 work culture and the inevitable extinction of the human race at our own hands. Isn't it wild that this book series was spontaneously created by the gods and has no actual author? The Restricted Section features a bunch of nerds with potty mouths rereading the Harry Potter series for what has to be like the 3rd to 20th time, and discussing the way the story and its themes have stayed with each and every one of us into our adulthood. We would love for you to join us every Wednesday wherever pods are cast.
Of the Eldest Gods is based on the series by Rick Riordan. Right now we are discussing Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday.
Anyway, I'm dying just a little bit because my brain, and also we've been recording for 2 hours. Bro.
We really did not want to have this happen. I don't know how to make this not happen.
Why do we do this when it's just us recording? We don't even have a guest on.
Okay, but we're getting worse with the guests too. And so it's because, 1, we feel comfortable rambling to each other. 2, when we have guests, we are even more likely to get off topic. I feel like we're quicker then, but like, we do more tangents. We need to do something? We need to like, have a get back on task button. I don't know.
I just like talking to you, okay? I'm sorry that you're my friend. I'm so sorry.
We need shorter podcasts, but me too, bro. I love you.
I love you.
Dave X Media.